What if I told you that when someone shows up in your dream, Edgar Cayce found out it's never a coincidence? Stick with me because the knowledge you're going to gain will totally transform the way you view your dreams from here on out. For more than 40 years, Edgar Cayce, famous as the Sleeping Prophet, performed thousands of psychic sessions while in a trance. But this is what the majority of folks overlook. Cayce uncovered revolutionary insights into the reasons certain individuals show up in our dreams. And I'm cautioning you right now, this isn't merely some uplifting idea. It's concerning the concealed links among souls that science is just starting to grasp. As per Edgar Cayce, whenever someone steps into your dream, your subconscious isn't merely running arbitrary films. No, a much deeper process is at work. Cayce explained that dreams serve as the gathering spot between the conscious and the superconscious mind, a domain where time, space, and bodily constraints vanish. But prior to unveiling Cayce's most startling finding regarding dream guests, allow me to pose this question. Have you ever roused from a dream involving someone and sensed they were truly present alongside you? That sensation isn't your fancy. Edgar Cayce figured out the cause of this occurrence, and it will astound you. Edgar Cayce stated something that altered all our prior beliefs about dreams. He proclaimed that the subconscious mind retains everything without fail. Ponder that briefly. Every individual who has ever influenced your existence, every feeling you've encountered, every bond you've formed, it's all preserved in what Cayce referred to as the Akashic records of your soul. But this is where it turns captivating, and I require your full focus because the vast majority overlook this vital element. Based on Edgar Cayce, when an individual surfaces in your dream, they aren't simply a recollection being rerun. Cayce learned that dreams function across various dimensions at the same time. During his sessions, Cayce disclosed that the dream condition permits our awareness to tap into what he labeled the universal consciousness, an immense web linking every soul. Whenever a particular individual arrives in your dream, Edgar Cayce indicated it signifies one of three occurrences, and the final one will stun you. Initially, your soul is handling an unsettled karmic tie with that individual. Next, that individual's soul is genuinely extending toward yours via the astral realm. Yet the third cause, this marks the spot where Cayce's insights become truly deep, and it's an element that will prompt you to doubt all you believe about existence. Edgar Cayce learned that certain individuals who come to our dreams are in fact previews of upcoming soul meetings, folks we haven't crossed paths with in this existence yet, but we're fated to encounter. I realize this seems unattainable, but remain with me since the proof Cayce offered via thousands of recorded instances will render you wordless. The issue isn't if this holds truth. The issue is, are you prepared to comprehend what your dreams are truly conveying? Now, this is an element Edgar Cayce learned that the bulk of dream specialists entirely disregard. And the moment you comprehend this, you'll never regard your dreams in the identical manner once more. Cayce described the conscious mind as resembling a small island adrift on a boundless sea. And that sea represents your subconscious mind. But contrary to what contemporary psychology proposes, Edgar Cayce learned that this subconscious sea isn't solely individual. It's linked to each other soul that has ever been. As per Edgar Cayce, when an individual emerges in your dream, your subconscious functions as an advanced receiver, capturing soul vibrations that your alert mind fails to sense. Imagine it as a cosmic broadcast device dialing into particular channels. But this is the segment that will send shivers through you. Cayce disclosed that you don't haphazardly dial into merely anybody. Edgar Cayce stated that the individuals who come to your dreams are souls with whom you possess what he termed soul memory patterns. These represent profound karmic bonds that surpass your present existence. Perhaps you were partners in ancient Egypt. Perhaps you were kin in medieval Europe. Perhaps you were mentor and pupil in Atlantis. Indeed, Edgar Cayce discussed Atlantis at great length. But hold on, this tale has further elements, and the revelation I'm set to impart next may appear implausible, but Edgar Cayce's recorded precision of over 85% renders it impossible to dismiss. Cayce learned that your subconscious mind holds not only your present life occurrences, but the feeling impressions from every prior existence. When an individual emerges in your dream, Edgar Cayce stated, it's frequently due to your soul identifying them from earlier incarnations. Your conscious mind may ponder, why am I envisioning my third-grade instructor? But your soul grasps the profounder reality. Based on Edgar Cayce, that third-grade instructor could have served as your guardian in a former existence, or your mate, or even your offspring. The positions shift, but the soul bond stays steady through existences. Are you beginning to perceive why particular individuals seem so recognizable upon meeting? Edgar Cayce possessed the solutions decades prior to others even posing the inquiries. Edgar Cayce learned an element that quantum physics is merely now starting to validate, and it's destined to utterly reshape your grasp of human bonds. But before I disclose this finding, permit me to recount an event that befell thousands of Cayce's patrons. Observe if this rings a bell. You envision someone you haven't conversed with in years. The vision feels remarkably sharp, nearly more genuine than actuality. Then, inside 24 to 48 hours, that individual reaches out to you from nowhere. Mere chance. Edgar Cayce stated, not in the slightest. As per Edgar Cayce, what the majority label as chance is, in truth, proof of what he designated soul telepathy. Cayce learned that whenever two souls hold a robust karmic bond, they stay energetically joined irrespective of bodily separation or elapsed time. He portrayed it as unseen strands of illumination linking core to core, soul to soul. But this is where Edgar Cayce's insights turn truly captivating, and I require your attentive ear since this might clarify numerous aspects of your personal history. Cayce disclosed that amid slumber, our souls aren't restricted to our bodily forms. He learned that the soul journeys convenes with fellow souls and exchanges on what he labeled the soul plane. When you envision someone, Edgar Cayce stated, your soul could genuinely be convening with their soul within this elevated dimension. Reflect on this momentarily. As per Edgar Cayce, that remarkably sharp dream dialogue you shared with your former companion, you could have truly been conversing with their soul as both of your bodily forms rested. This isn't figurative. Cayce regarded this as factual reality grounded in thousands of psychic sessions. Edgar Cayce learned that potent feeling bonds generate what he labeled psychic chords among individuals. These chords don't sever merely because a bond concludes or individuals relocate. They persist vigorous, throbbing with vitality, relaying notions and feelings in both directions. But hold on, there's an even deeper revelation that Edgar Cayce unearthed, and this will contest all you hold regarding autonomy and fate. Cayce stated that at times when an individual emerges in your dream, it's due to your elevated self being summoned to a soul assembly. As per Edgar Cayce, these represent no haphazard meetings. They're prearranged sessions set by your souls before your very birth into this existence. Now we're arriving at the core of Edgar Cayce's deepest insight, and I assure you this is an unheard-of notion, but a gentle alert. The instant you grasp this, you may commence viewing your whole existence anew. Edgar Cayce stated that the soul leaves no matter unresolved. None whatsoever. Based on his thousands of recorded sessions, when an individual recurs in your dreams, it's owing to your possession of what he labeled soul debt with that individual. But this is what the majority misconstrue regarding soul debt, and Edgar Cayce was quite precise on this point. It's not invariably concerning what you presume. You could suppose you're envisioning your former companion because you long for them sentimentally. But Cayce learned that the soul functions on far profounder strata. As per Edgar Cayce, that former companion might symbolize a soul teaching on self-regard that you haven't yet conquered. That challenging guardian who graces your dreams might instruct you on pardon-spanning existences. That companion who deceived you, Edgar Cayce would declare your souls consented to enact those positions to aid mutual advancement. This is an element that will astound your intellect. Edgar Cayce learned that prior to birth, our souls genuinely select the most demanding bonds we'll confront in each existence. We outright choose the individuals who shall wound us, let us down, and propel us toward development. From the soul's vantage, Edgar Cayce stated, There exist no casualties, merely participants. But hold on, this narrative extends further, and the disclosure I'm poised to convey next elucidates why certain individuals struggle to release particular bonds, regardless of their toxicity. Edgar Cayce disclosed that certain souls are tethered by what he labeled karmic pacts. These pacts extend over numerous existences and remain incomplete until both souls have absorbed what they arrive to absorb jointly. As per Edgar Cayce, this accounts for your inexplicable pull towards someone unsuitable for you, or why you can't dispel the recollection of someone absent for years. Your soul comprehends something your conscious mind ignores, namely, that this bond fulfills a loftier intent. Edgar Cayce learned that when an individual recurs in your dreams, your elevated self is literally dispatching missives regarding what yet requires mending, absorbing, or finalizing between you and that soul. The vision isn't torment, it's direction. As per Edgar Cayce, the swiftest method to cease envisioning someone involves fulfilling whichever soul teaching they embody. At times that's pardon. At times it's voicing affection. At times it's merely comprehending the profounder, ethereal intent of your bond. This marks the juncture where Edgar Cayce's insights turn utterly intellect-altering, and I require your keen concentration since this notion by itself could overhaul your full comprehension of bonds and self-advancement. Edgar Cayce learned what he labeled the soul reflection principle, and it elucidates why particular individuals resurface in your dreams time and again, even when you believe you're utterly past them. As per Edgar Cayce, every individual in your existence, particularly those who emerge in your dreams, embodies a distinct facet of your personal soul. But this isn't mere contemporary ethereal nonsense. Cayce chronicled this principle via thousands of former life sessions, wherein he unveiled the complex soul bonds among individuals. Edgar Cayce stated that when you envision someone who evoked profound affection within you, your soul displays your personal aptitude for affection that you might not manifest in your present existence. When you envision someone who wounded you severely, Edgar Cayce learned it's your soul soliciting you to mend that injured segment of yourself. But this is the segment that could jolt you. And Edgar Cayce was utterly explicit on this in his sessions. At times, the individuals in your dreams concern not those precise persons whatsoever. They're soul reflectors, casting back facets of yourself demanding notice. As per Edgar Cayce, your elevated self employs recognizable visages in visions, since your conscious mind attends to known individuals, yet disregards vague emblems or unfamiliar countenances. It's akin to your soul's method of capturing your focus. Edgar Cayce learned that should you envision someone who exuded assurance and triumph, your soul could be impelling you to embrace your personal authority. Should you envision someone who was inventive and unbound in spirit, Edgar Cayce would declare, your soul summons you to manifest your true essence. This explains why Edgar Cayce invariably counseled individuals to inquire not solely, why do I envision this individual? But likewise, what attribute does this individual embody that I must cultivate within myself? As per Edgar Cayce, the moment you assimilate the soul teaching that individual embodies, the visions frequently cease organically. It's not due to your forgetting them. It's owing to your wholeness in that domain of your existence. But Edgar Cayce's insights on dream guests hold further depths, and the revelation I'm set to impart next unveils the ethereal dimension that the majority never ponder. The disclosure I'm poised to convey next constitutes Edgar Cayce's deepest insight on why individuals grace our dreams, and it's an element that could utterly reshape your ethereal path eternally. Edgar Cayce learned that we exist not in a single life. We endure hundreds, conceivably thousands of incarnations, all interlinked by an everlasting soul filament. And as per Cayce, the individuals who emerge most often in our dreams represent what he labeled our soul collective, the identical grouping of souls who manifest jointly existence after existence. Reflect on this momentarily. Edgar Cayce stated that your present kin, your nearest companions, your most pivotal amorous mates, and even your most formidable foes are apt souls you've recognized for eons. The positions alter. Your present matriarch might have been your progeny in a former existence. Your mate might have been your kin, but the essential soul bonds stay unwavering. But this is what Edgar Cayce learned that shall send chills through you. At times when an individual emerges in your dreams, particularly if you sense an immediate, unexplainable bond with them, it's owing to your souls having freshly reunited post-separation across several existences. As per Edgar Cayce, soul collectives frequently disperse and reconvene across varied incarnations for diverse ethereal aims. When a fellow of your soul collective emerges in your vision, Edgar Cayce stated, it's frequently an indicator that you're both set to rejoin and persist your shared ethereal advancement. Edgar Cayce disclosed something yet more remarkable. He learned that evolved souls frequently grace the visions of their less advanced soul collective fellows to furnish counsel and aid. As per Cayce, should you envision someone who has departed or someone who appears to hold exceptional insight in the vision, you could genuinely be obtaining counsel from a more ethereally advanced soul. But hold on, there's another element Edgar Cayce unearthed that elucidates why certain vision meetings feel so foretelling and significant. Cayce learned that certain vision assemblies constitute in truth soul previews of impending bodily meetings. As per Edgar Cayce, your elevated self at times permits you to convene souls in the vision condition prior to your encounter with them in tangible reality, readying you for pivotal bonds or meetings fated to transpire. This accounts for why Edgar Cayce counseled individuals to heed attentively unfamiliar individuals who emerge in their visions with peculiar sharpness or feeling potency. As per Cayce, these could represent souls you're slated to encounter shortly who shall enact vital roles in your ethereal maturation. Edgar Cayce stated, "The cosmos squanders naught. Every vision meeting fulfills an intent in your soul's maturation." Now we're nearing Edgar Cayce's most exquisite insight on affection and visions, and the impartation I'm set to share elucidates why affection never truly perishes. It merely shifts form across existences. Edgar Cayce learned that when you genuinely cherish someone at the soul stratum, that bond surpasses demise, time, and bodily parting. As per Cayce, affection forges what he labeled eternal ties that persist expanding and maturing across manifold incarnations. But this is what Edgar Cayce disclosed that the majority fail to grasp regarding affection visions, and this could utterly reshape your perspective on prior and present bonds. When someone you cherish emerges in your visions, Edgar Cayce stated, "It's seldom concerning the temperament or the bodily person you recognized. It's regarding the everlasting soul core that you've cherished across numerous existences." As per Cayce, authentic affection represents soul acknowledgement, the instant when two timeless entities recall their cosmic bond. Edgar Cayce learned via his sessions that soul companions extend beyond amorous mates. He unveiled that we possess manifold soul companions in each existence, encompassing kin, companions, guides, and even fleetingly met unfamiliar individuals who profoundly affect our existences. As per Edgar Cayce, when a soul companion emerges in your vision, your soul either rejoices in the bond, mends from parting, or readies for rejoining. But this is the segment that could astonish you. Cayce disclosed that not all soul companion bonds intend permanence in each existence. Edgar Cayce stated that at times, souls consent to cherish one another fiercely for a concise span, impart crucial teachings mutually, then part so both may advance their singular maturation. The affection concludes not, it morphs into insight and ethereal expansion. This elucidates why Edgar Cayce clarified that envisioning a vanished affection doesn't invariably signify you ought to endeavor physical rejoining. At times it signifies your soul assimilates the ethereal endowments that bond contributed to your maturation. But Edgar Cayce learned something yet more profound on affection visions that shall deeply stir your core. As per Edgar Cayce, when someone you cherish who has departed emerges in your visions, they could genuinely be gracing you from what he labeled the spirit domain. Cayce unveiled that affection erects spans between dimensions, permitting souls to sustain contact even post-bodily demise. Edgar Cayce stated that departed cherished ones frequently grace our visions to furnish solace, counsel, or simply to convey their well, and that affection endures beyond bodily being. These represent not mere hopeful notions or sorrow handling. As per Cayce, they're authentic soul meetings, but this constitutes Edgar Cayce's most exquisite unveiling on affection visions. He learned that every deed of authentic affection, every instant of profound soul bond, every occurrence of true concern augments illumination to what he labeled your soul chronicle. This illumination never wanes. It solely intensifies, forging beacon emissions that draw cherishing souls toward you across all existences. As per Edgar Cayce, the greater affection you bestow and absorb, the more luminous your soul grows, attracting your soul collective nearer and engendering more exquisite vision meetings. Edgar Cayce learned something profound on visions and feeling anguish that could liberate you from years of torment. Yet, the majority neglect this prospect. As per Cayce, when someone who wounded you emerges in your visions, your elevated self isn't chastising you. It's proffering a straightforward route to mending. Cayce elucidated that feeling scars generate what he labeled psychic afflictions in the soul form. Akin to bodily afflictions, these scars suppurate unless tended, impacting not solely your present existence, but potentially future incarnations. Visions furnish a secure realm to confront and liberate these psychic afflictions, sans bodily confrontation with the individual. The essence, Cayce stated, lies in enacting vision pardon. This signifies not excusing detrimental conduct or feigning the anguish transpired not. Rather, it entails recognizing that at the soul stratum, every anguishing encounter constitutes a prospect for expansion for both sides. The individual who wounded you enacts a position your soul consented to endure just as you enacted a position in theirs. Authentic pardon in the vision condition can purge the psychic affliction, settle karmic obligation, and emancipate you from bearing that anguish into future existences. Compelled pardon, however, proves fruitless. Genuine mending emerges innately when you seize the ethereal intent behind each encounter. Cayce likewise unveiled that every individual in your visions serves as an ethereal instructor, aiding you to nurture mercy, insight, or judgment. Once the soul teaching is absorbed, the necessity for these visions organically wanes. He underscored that visions function as a span to recollecting your sacred essence. The regularity and potency of your vision guests mirror your stratum of ethereal rousing. Evolved souls may encounter soul-rejoining visions wherein manifold significant individuals emerge conjointly, indicating the fulfillment of karmic loops. Cayce's counsel for vision meetings proves exact. Chronicle your vision promptly, observing who emerged, the sentiments and deeds. Inquire of yourself, what attribute does this individual embody? What unresolved feeling affair do I hold with them? What facet of myself do they cast back? Contemplation frequently unveils profounder strata of import. Conclude the pondering by inquiring, how does this vision summon me toward ethereal expansion? By regarding vision guests as ethereal couriers, rather than feeling catalysts, your visions morph into potent instruments for deliberate maturation. Cayce's paramount missive. Every soul in your visions constitutes an endowment directing you to recollect that affection alone holds reality, and all else represents transient lapse. My deepest gratitude for remaining with me through this inquiry. Should you discern merit in today's discourse, recall to enlist with the conduit and disseminate this footage with someone who might derive benefit. And should you desire to advance apace in bolstering this endeavor, you may presently bestow a super gratitude beneath. It's a modest manner to convey appreciation, and it veritably aids in sustaining this conduit.